Guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect. Today we're jumping back into some more mechanical mastery. So I hope you guys are ready. Back into more mechanical mastery, and some time has gone by. Believe it or not, a couple of days have actually gone by between last episode and this, and that was days that I actually left my client running. That may be a good idea and a bad idea, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Now, good and bad. Good, I was able to prep up about as much ingredients as we were going to need for those shards, because I'm going to need close to 392 of those shards. Each one of those, you can take that number and multiply it by 20 because it has to run through 20 individual pieces. Yeah, that's a lot of processing, which we can speed up, which meant I was going to need over 8,000 of each essence. So I left that also running, and we were producing antimatter. Antimatter's been produced, but I ran into a bit of a problem over that time. So of course, I tried my best to make sure everything was ready to go and to be able to sit, because this is not on a server. If it was on a server, this would be super easy. We would have already had antimatter. All of this would be producing, but this is on a single player world, so I have to leave my client open. I ran into a problem, and that problem was iron, and it was this material right here, the hydrogen chloride. I ran out of it. I did have this set up, but for some reason I technically ran out of hydrogen itself. Thankfully, I have solved that problem by just connecting into more of the generators that I had. I just thought I had enough hydrogen. Turns out I did not. I also went ahead and made some pedestals for very specific things like this, the fluid encapsulator. Really, this is only affecting the fluid encapsulator, believe it or not, which is kind of nice. Yeah, that it's fits in there perfectly, only affecting those machines, because that's the only machines that I really needed sped up at the moment. So what are we doing today? That is the big thing, right? Today, we're going to be furthering ourselves and making the singularities. So while I'm letting more of the essence build up, we can start to produce singularities. Now, this is going to require some automation in itself just to be able to make all of the singularities, but they're not that bad. They only require 1,000 of each item. That means diamonds, that means tin, silver, aluminum. The ones that are going to be the problem are going to be bronze, electrum, invar, and steel. I think those are going to be the ones that are going to be the most costly. Everything else, so long as it's not an alloy that I have to process in a secondary machine, should be easy to do. It's only 1,000, and we are going to need 36 of these. So we're going to need a total of 36,000 of every single component that is listed inside of this group. So that means we're going to need 36,000 diamonds, we're going to need 36,000 silver, and so on and so forth. That will add up. Specifically in the diamond department, we can do up to 3.3 million. I was just saying it's expensive as far as EMC, but I think we have, with the 3 billion or the almost 3 billion EMC that we have, and we haven't really started losing any, I think we'll be fine. I think the amount that we're about to be producing is going to be sufficient. But we do probably need to get started on the ways to make them, and that is the quantum compressors. Now, these quantum compressors require all of this black iron ingots, right? And we're going to need one for each of these singularities. Now, they require black iron. That's the simple part, I believe. Super simple. But the catalysts, these are where things get a little bit more expensive. So this requires this luminance, and luminance is something that is made inside of the create mixer, I believe. I don't think there's a process to make it elsewhere. So it needs to be produced in this method. So we need to get some gunpowder and some redstone and some energized glowstone inside of a heated mixer. And we will get 4 for each of these. So that's good. But yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and get at least this set up. And yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to do. Now, thanks to you guys in the comments, I did find exactly the issue of not allowing me to pull the items out of my inventory, where I had to reopen and close all the time. Oh, thankfully, you guys in the comments came in clutch. I appreciate you guys a lot. And you guys said, take the external storage off the magma crucible. For some reason, that's a weird bug, but it worked. And now I'm able to access everything, and it's not causing any lag issues inside of my grid. Oh, it's so fantastic, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Now, outside of the amazing singularities that we are going to be producing, we are also going to be able to make these localized time destabilizers, which I think is going to help us in our machines to produce the alloys much faster than we would with just the basic top tier speed upgrades. So this right here also requires these ultimate components. So I'm working on getting that set up. So to do this, let's see, we can go ahead and have a basin with a mixer up here. And then a magma crucible can go on one side. I think on the back of this, we should be able to feed this a exporter. And that is going to feed in the other items. And then, of course, to this, we probably also want to feed in glowstone to this. Maybe even craft glowstone blocks. I think glowstone might be able to get it done. Now, I am going to put the max upgrades into this machine. If I can reach them. There we go. I'm going to put the max upgrade in that. Hopefully, that'll be fast enough to keep up with our mixer. And this just needs gunpowder. And it also needs, let me try and remember, gunpowder and redstone. So a lot of things that we already have. There we go. Now this just needs glowstone. And we'll just use regular glowstone for now. If this isn't enough, then we'll go ahead and buff things up. Now, some tips that I have done while automating a lot of these processes is for things like this that were single items, I now kind of beef them up. So when an initial craft happens, it will craft 16 at a time. And same for many other crafts that I have in here. For example, this wheat flour, I have it set to craft 16 at a time instead of just one when it asks for a single one, giving me 16 in reserve every time and kind of limiting the amount of time between crafting operations that occur. Hopefully that will help speed things up. Since doing 16 at a time will take the same amount of time roughly that it takes to do one at a time, especially in these crushing wheels, which can become kind of tedious in that regard. So here we have it. All right, on this, we just need to get it sped up, get it hooked in, and to fuel it, we are going to use a blaze burner, just a simple blaze burner in the same form that we've already done. And we can actually grab that from the nether, simply grab blazes from the nether instead of trying to get them from our setup here. And that should work. I think, yeah, I just need to get this hooked in here. Now, take a look at this craziness. Now, I know I have precision mechanisms, and I could easily have used another means of speeding this up, but just something about seeing the gears is just beautiful to me. I don't know. I like being able to see the raw stuff on the back end. But yeah, a speed controller is one of the ways you can also choose to speed this up. But this works as well. Now, down here, I thankfully, I have the ability to do fluids, and I have the lava, so I don't have to drag pipes around anymore. Of course, at this point, now I'm at this, right? Will that export lava into this, or am I going to need other means? Oh, it doesn't seem like that works. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, that's right, because it's not plugged in. I'm a dork. All these flubs, they happen to me all the time, I swear. So I'm just gonna need to hook the cables in before anything is going to kick off. And there we go. Awesome. So now we should have everything going. We just need a ender gate on this to give it power, of course. And then we need to, of course, make sure the insert and then to export the fluid into here. And hopefully that works. Auto input and auto output. And there we go. We're going to have the fluids mixed together. And then an importer to finish the entire project off. Very nice. Perfect. Just like this. Now, of course, on the importer, we're going to want to make sure the luminescence is the stuff that we're actually pulling out of here. And make sure it's set to whitelist mode. Perfect. Now we should be good, and hopefully this is fast enough to pump the fluids and keep everything running. And there we go. So with simply adding a stack upgrade, this is more than capable of keeping up with all of the luminescence that we're going to need for this project. And then, of course, same as I've always done, to be able to shut this off, I will simply use a detector and just keep a certain amount in stock. So now that I have luminescence being produced, I can get started with all of the things and components needed to make the quantum compressor, which is going to make the singularities, and then of course the ultimate crafting tables, which is what we're going to use to make all of the actual singularities themselves. And of course, further on, this will be used for some other crafts as well. I think there's a higher tier table than this, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. There is one of them that is better than this one, I believe. It's the one that we're actually going to use to craft the final star, I believe. Oh no, it's actually done in a mechanical crafter with 45. Oh, that's not too bad though. By the way, while I'm making these recipes, I kind of want to show something really cool that I don't think I've ever used before with refined storage. And I know it's an add-on mod, but it's pretty cool. This is the RS Requestify, and I've not played with this too much, but I have used it for the nitro crystals here, and I'm now using it for glass. What you do is you set the amount that you want to always have in stock, and it kind of works similar to all of these things that we've had going using the detector, except this is a requester. And so what it can do is it will constantly request the amount of items that we have here until it reaches 8,000, and then it will no longer craft them. So it'll force the auto craft to take place. So right now, glass is being crafted, as you can see right here, until it reaches 8,000 glass. I think that's pretty darn cool. And it did allow me to get the nitro that I need, the over 8,000 nitro that we were going to need for those final star shard pieces. So this right here is all of the individual patterns that I think I'm going to need from the extended crafting. Unless I choose to make this ultimate auto crafter, which allows for auto crafting inside of this, but since there's only going to be 38 of them, we might be able to craft these by hand, and I think it might be more engaging for me to actually craft them by hand instead of it just being an ultimate automated process. So the actual craft for the ultimate crafting table took less than a blink of an eye. I really, that was super fast that thing crafted up. So I am going to need now one for each singularity, one of these quantum compressors, and then we're going to go ahead and get those hopefully set up. Now, the more I start to set things up and the more I start to look at all of these singularities I'm going to end up needing, the more I'm like, my God, I'm going to need a ton of iron, like so much iron. And that might force me to, like I was working on, put that upgrade in here to make this process a bit faster, and maybe route all of my resources to this. And that also will include the bottom piece down here, the charges. We're going to have to probably maximize and make the max one for that. So now I'm working on prepping all of the singularities. I have all of the compressors that we're going to need for all of the singularities. They're also going to need some power. They just have to store some power just like this. And I'm starting to kind of think all of the individual parts that I'm going to need and how I want to effectively go about doing this. So what I'm going to do is, I think for right now, just sort of let it slowly trickle in, and then figure out what our components are going to be. But some of these things I'm going to be processing right on the actual compressors themselves. So for example, diamond, redstone, coal, all of those things, we want those to go through an enrichment chamber. And so I do have some enrichment chambers that are supposed to be processing up. But these are going to go right on top, and we're going to actually export into those, max upgrade them, and we're going to be using the enrichment chambers for putting those ingredients into the compressor. So with the enrichment chambers, let's go ahead and get this set up. So I know that I'm going to need, for one, diamond. So I'm going to be sending diamond ore, which is EMCable, to this one. The next, we can go ahead and send redstone. This is going to be pretty nice. I do have a stock of redstone, but this will be a little bit different. This is just going to be exclusively coming out of EMC going into this, leaving our main product alone for now. We may change that later. I don't think those redstone is going to be the issue. Coal, we'll just send raw to this. It's actually pretty cheap. This is only going to produce 2. That's going to be pretty slow. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that outside of just speeding it up. And then emeralds. All of this is probably some of the best ways of getting these materials. This is going to guarantee 2 out of the 1 ore, which is actually a little better than what we're doing over here for all of our other auto crafts. And then last but not least is lapis. Of course, all of these singularities are going to be pretty darn quick. And these are just going to produce on their own. So I have this set up. All I have to do is hook into the cable, and that will start producing and dumping them into here. Don't want to start it just yet. I want to kind of do this once I get everything sort of prepped up. Now, this would be a good time, I think, to start working on these products. And I'm thinking about doing steel in its own section. Like I kind of want steel to be its own entity, separate from our current steel production. And so I'm going to be setting up what is going to be now my third time setting up steel automation. So for the steel production, I have gone ahead and added it directly into this setup here. So it's going to enrich the charcoal, which I'm going to be sending charcoal to this. And then down here, I'm just going to be sending iron. And that should have steel produced. Now, this is probably one of the hardest things that is going to take place. But I can control the speed at which this is going to be flowing by simply determining how fast the exporters are going. So at their default rate, it's going to be pretty slow. And of course, I'm going to upgrade these machines as we go on as well. Now, for the other few things, so we have steel, Invar, Electrum, and Bronze. These are going to cost a lot of the other resources, which means we are going to need 36,000 times whatever the ingredients are for these things, because we need 1,000 of these, which means we need 36,000 of these ingots as well. That really adds up. All of these numbers start to get really large once we start thinking about how these are actually produced. So this is going to be 1-to-1, thankfully, but it does mean that we are going to need 32,000 more gold and 32,000 more silver. I think silver, yeah, is one of the singularities. So yeah, it starts to really add up. Invar is pretty expensive as well, because I believe Invar is like, 2 iron. So we're going to need 36 times 3 now, because of this particular... Well, it gives us 3 ingots, so it's actually the math's going to be a little bit different here, I think. But it also means we're going to have to double our nickel as well. Thankfully, we do have a lot of that. And this just may be a slow process to ultimately get to the end. But I do have these, and speeding them up as we go shouldn't be too bad. So setting them up, induction smelters. So boop, boop, and boop. And to set these up, it's just going to be an exporter on the top, exporting the 2 things that are going to be needed for these. And then, of course, adding the upgrades and all that fun stuff, making sure that these are set up just like this, auto input. And getting our upgrades in them. Really, the singularities are probably some of the easiest parts of this pack. Okay, so that should be everything set up. Now we just simply hook them in. And make sure it doesn't go too crazy fast. I think this is going to need... We're going to have to get our power, our ender gates on here to make sure these get some power to at least get started. Get this hooked in. Now, I don't know if these singularities stop once they produced 1, or do they continue to produce them until they have an entire stack of these singularities. I don't know. Is this supposed to be going into here? Or do I have to define the singularity? Well, I guess it might build up. I thought it was supposed to go in, but do we have to tell it what singularity this is making? Surely not. I would assume not. Oh, this one is specific. The one I chose is specifically because it doesn't have any power associated to it. Okay, well, actually none of them are being accepted. That's the wrong lead, apparently. See, these are issues. Yep, it's this lead. So that's going to fill in. There's the iron. These are missing power. But why is it not producing the singularities? That's what... Am I missing something? I feel like I am missing something. Something's not going on right here. Ah, I have to uncheck the limit input button in order for it to start producing the singularities. Ah, okay. I'm learning something new. This mod seems like it changes every pack I've played with it in. There's always new features and everything being added. So now, while these things are all producing down underground, and we have all of these producing the singularities now, let's start to work on these upgrades that I was needing, right? So these time augmenting upgrades, this right here, the localized time destabilizer, this requires ether gas. We've been building up plenty of it, but now we should be able to actually make a couple of these. So yeah, we have all of the ingredients. I think this is the only one I don't have auto-crafted, so I'll set that up. I can go ahead and craft this. This is going to be a crafting recipe. And then we can set up a fluid encapsulator that is going to hopefully accept these things. We're going to have to pull in ether gas. We should be able to do this all from a crafter in the same with the same upgrade. Fluid encapsulator. Let's go ahead and make another one of these. And it's probably going to be slow like this one, so I think I'm going to try and put this automation over here somewhere, probably like right next to these machines. And maybe we'll see if that goes fast enough. So I have to set the fluid encapsulator to accept both items and fluids. That should work with the crafter. And it is next to this to make it a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and make one. And we'll use this definitely for iron at first. Hopefully this will send everything. It'll do its initial craft. Oh my, and it immediately crafted it. There we go. And that chapter is fully complete, I believe. And we get an extra one as a reward. Finally, a nice reward out of this pack. We got an extra one for free. Even though at this point, I mean, we pretty much have everything. So this is the point. Okay, so I'm running into issues elsewhere down the line here. Why is this? Oh, so we're out of the sulfur material, but we have tons of sulfur dust. So maybe with that issue that's happening right now, I might just need to up wherever I'm producing the sulfur. Okay. I think what I'm going to do for this is, since this is producing excess sulfuric acid, I can just use the excess that's being generated here and just send that to the back as an output. And that means send this to my sulfuric acid as an input. And now we should have sulfuric acid running back into everything comfortably. Oh, good. That way I didn't have to set up any other crazy setup. Hopefully that doesn't ruin my fizzle fuel production, which I think it's okay. All right, let's see what this beast is going to look like whenever we get this upgrade in here. Okay, so I guess this takes the place of this. Oh, no, it's like its own upgrade. So it takes the place of this. Oh, wow. Does it say how much RF it's using? Wait, I was only using 320? But it's going so much faster now. Okay. Does that mean we can get like bonuses on our output? I don't know if the augments, if this increases non-primary output. Is there one that no, I don't think there's one that produces. This one that saves on our catalyst usage, right? Catalyst usage. I think this saves on our catalysts, so it's probably better to get a set of these automated. Wow, it is hard to tell, but with everything creating singularities like it is right now, wow, it is really hard to tell. Does this mean when we hit eject, that's going to send the items back? That's not what we want. We want this producing singularities, but for some reason, this is not producing a singularity. It's only 1,000 items needed, right? Per singularity. Oh, we have to put the ultimate catalysts. Oh, we need 19 of these. See, I'm learning. I'm learning. I forgot that the catalysts have to go in here to produce. Okay. To produce them. So let's just see. There's that. And now it's producing. Okay, okay, okay. Slowly but surely it'll get them produced. Oh, I just have to put catalysts in all of them, though. So yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea to kind of just make things last a bit longer, to probably put this in here. That'll hopefully save us on these charges overall. Yeah, that's easily able to keep up with everything. Now with everything processing and keeping up, oh boy, am I excited. Because we can now craft the actual singularities. But there's one thing I want to do first, and that is grab the antimatter that we have been producing, at least enough to get the pellets. So there's all of the antimatter pellets. We have that completed. We get a bonus of antimatter pellets, and we need to craft the creative chemical tank. So let's go ahead and craft that. So I'm going to need one ultimate chemical tank, and then I already have the star shards for this. So I should be able to just put this together simply and bam, craft up this ultimate tank, which I should be able to hook into this. And as soon as it pipes in a little bit of antimatter, it will take on the antimatter, I believe. At least I hope so. And then we should have unlimited antimatter. So without further ado, oh, creative chemical tank. There we go. That's one part of this done. Let's go ahead and see if that is actually going to happen. It says chemical 0 infinite. So after doing some further research, I'm going to see if this works using a gauge dropper to pick up the antimatter and then putting the antimatter in here. Oh, and now we have infinite antimatter. Okay, so that works. Put it in the I was putting it in the wrong slot. It needs to go into the minus slot. But now we have infinite antimatter. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. And then I just need to set this. I could probably just pick it up, to be fair, and just set it to auto output next to this machine. However, I do want to make sure antimatter also is going into a tank, so that way our residual can get piped out. So what I'm going to do is hook up into this, like this. That's the wrong kind of pipe. I probably looked like a crazy person trying to do that without a pressurized tube, which probably would have worked as well, but I was just so excited I made this. Oh man. So yeah, the gauge dropper is a kind of a cool way of doing that. Okay. So I should be able to simply make sure that's extracting. That way it'll void out everything, basically going into the creative tank. The creative tank will then set it to eject to here, which is going to fill that with antimatter, creating the pellets. And then we can just simply make some sort of storage for them. Oh boy. Yes, that will just simply auto eject the antimatter out to here. Wow. Okay. So with that craziness all out of the way, I can now definitively craft the ultimate singularity. Let's go ahead and pull out all the singularities that I have made thus far. And we should have enough to craft definitely one singularity. Wow, we can almost shut off the redstone because we only need 36 of these in total to craft the creative final item. So that is crazy. That the tank would be really nice as well to have the creative tank. That could definitely help speed other processes up. But that gas alone, having just infinite antimatter is just, man, I was starting to get worried there for a moment. All right, so I think this is literally all of them. So all I have to do now is go to my crafting table right here, and we just need to craft the ultimate singularity. Oh my. Am I happy to do this? Ultimate singularity, done. Now, this is just one major part of this whole thing, because I think next episode we're going to be setting up the final star. And this will be pretty much in-game at that point. So we will speed up our crafting, and it will be incredibly fast processing all of our materials on our conveyor belt that is over here. And so all of these things are going to get processed up, and it is going to go so fast. Oh boy, I can't believe we have all of these singularities. So next episode, I believe it will be in-game. Guys, I thank you so very much for watching thus far. I hope you have enjoyed this series, and I hope you've learned just as much as I have throughout this journey as I've tried to share my experiences with you guys. And of course, be sure to check out the Discord if you haven't already. Click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell if you would be so kind. We're getting super close to 600,000 subscribers, and I can't do that without you guys. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what's been your favorite part thus far. Honestly, what has been your favorite automation task to watch thus far? Let me know down in the comments. I would really love to know if you've made it this far in the video, that is. And guys, I will see you in the next one. Of course, let's go ahead and thank the supporter, though, of today's video. I almost forgot. I'm a goofball. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Hello Skeleton. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Don't forget, guys, you can also support here on YouTube as well. The join button that's next to the subscribe button, and you get access to the same perks over on the Discord, no matter which way you choose to support. I just appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.